Tap, tap. Don't you love people who smack on microphones? And we are live. Getting better at that. We don't have any New Yorkisms. Greetings, campers. Good morning. First link, amazing today. Must watch, should share. You know, I've spoken about Virginia, our war correspondent over in Amsterdam. I sent her this link yesterday, and she responded with amazing. Now, if she thinks this is amazing, must be good. I think it's amazing too. That's why I sent it to her. That's why I'm giving it to you. This is RFK speaking to us from his library, just a video, talking about the threats to our democracy and our liberties. And he makes the excellent point along the same lines as I've been saying, and we all feel and know, but he has articulated it brilliantly by saying when there is a lockdown on our fundamental rights, the first one they do is restrict freedom of speech because you can't discuss the other ones. Look at how they are censoring speech. Anybody disagreeing with the official narrative is being blocked, censored, and removed from the conversation. Isn't that interesting? And anybody who thinks that's not the case, they want to lock you into your houses and wait until there's a knock on your door. So I urge you to watch this, and he speaks to those protesting around the world who are protesting the impingement and restrictions of their liberties, and it is powerful. I think it's brilliant, and I think you will too. I would love your comment. In fact, I was only going to put that link up today, but there are so many more that must be seen. Let's find out if the other channel will be available today or tomorrow. Who knows? Let me put the light on, actually. This is kind of interesting lighting, but it's a rainy day yesterday. Again, in Florida today, it's cloudy. This is like a month, the month of October, which I usually love the weather in, has been a mess down here. Anyway, that's the scoop. So let's review, shall we? When I was talking about Breggins the other day, and that was the link in there, which is an excellent interview and a discussion that he has, there were two other points that I kept forgetting, so I wrote them down because they were kind of mutually exclusive. One is the point that he says overstimulation, and he was talking about actual neurological testing they're doing on children. And it sounds to me a bit abusive, like part of the MK Ultra thing. Overstimulation leads to apathy. So when we, as a public, are being overstimulated with too much media garbage, too much sensory input, too many confusing signals, wear your mask, take the mask off, it does this, it does that, Simon says, right? Apathy results. So people decide, well, I'll just put on the mask because it's easier. Kennedy addresses this, and it's brilliant. So that's Breggins' first point. The second point is, it's great to have liberty, and we must have liberty, but you have to combine that with love. I guess he's saying love and compassion, because otherwise, if you have the freedom to do anything you want to do, that allows psychopaths to run free, doesn't it? They could be as abusive, destructive, evil, manipulative as they like, and they are free. Interesting concept. Just wanted to share that with you. But the Kennedy speech is amazing. Now, I actually rearranged these links twice. I added in the Berlin protests because what Kennedy says is he will go down with his boots on, which is good. He will stand by our side and fight with us, joined with us to protect these liberties. I think this is a profoundly powerful speech. And he calls out the criminals, the villains, the Faucis, the Gateses, the corporate entities. I think it's 16 or 18 minutes long. It is brilliant. I would love your comments on it, campers. The second link is a short little clip from RT that came in last evening, and it was regarding the Berlin protests that occurred, and there were worldwide protests yesterday. Our mainstream media gave us nothing interesting. Take a look at this and notice the police there. They're looking almost like Star Wars helmets, the Darth Vader look. They've got in the back, so their backs of their necks are protected. What struck me about this was the fact that they're dragging an individual out of the crowd, and none of the crowd is stopping the police from brutalizing the people. However, not knowing what the person did, they may be attacking the crowd. So I don't know. It's not in context. But it strikes me as very interesting that 2, 3, 4 cops attack one person and arrest them, apprehend, restrict, and drag them off. Yet there's a crowd of hundreds or thousands of people, and they don't protect the person being attacked. One sheep being eaten by a wolf. Interesting thought, isn't it, campers? All right. The second link, this is very important. The PCR test is being questioned again. This is a great article, and again, this is from Epoch Times. Now, I am aware that everything they do, they have to hate on the CCP. Okay, that aside. They're talking about the PCR test. They're talking about the no consistent test levels by the CDC and the varying unreliability of them. And this is a great article. I have been screaming about the validity of the test from day one. I have said from day one or day two, well, these tests can be challenged by DWI attorneys, right? But nobody's challenging these tests. Yet the faster the test gives you a response, the faster the state action can occur where you can be COVID camped, right? That's where this could go very quickly. So this is a great article. I would urge you to take a read through it. It's not long, but it's good. I put in their full link, and it should be in the show notes right now. And I put in the link again where it says download their app. It's free. I recommend it because I put it up. What is that setting where you get notifications? I get a list, a scroll of amazing little headlines that are very important. You're not going to see. Well, I don't see them anywhere else, okay? So I urge you to take a look at it and tell me what you think of it. And I know that they upgraded it so that after 5 or 6 episodes, you have to buy their sample for $1. Okay, I bought it for $1. It's worth it by a mile. The next one is Dr. Judy. Now, this is incredible. I don't remember who sent me this. This may have been Virginia in Amsterdam. I believe it was. This is one done on, where was this? Was this on, oh, it's not even, what the hell is that? BitChute. It's on Periscope. And this was The Last American Vagabond. And he did an interview a couple of days ago. So this is hot off the presses with Dr. Judy, called The Cover-Up. And this is great. Judy cranks this out. I saw this. I said, I want to reach out and see if I can talk with her, because she lays this out. I mean, she's intense as usual, right? And kind of a little overwhelming. But if you go through this, you get past the first 8-10 minutes, and then she really dives into this. And further down, she explains how the shenanigans were done with the PCR test and that they didn't culture it using the proteins. But I watched this whole thing on and off for several hours because Periscope drove me crazy. I couldn't figure out how to work it properly. I did the app, then I just watched it in the screen. But evidently, if you're doing it on your phone, you can just press your thumb on it and then slide the screen and it advances it. So like it doesn't keep returning to where you were. It drove me nuts. But excellent, excellent, excellent interview. That's long. I would tell you, watch RFK's speech, right? After this, and again, this is all like, you know, a lot of bonus material, but the prime point here is Kennedy's speech at the top and Epoch Times questioning the PCR test, because I found another one from Reiner Fuellmich, who is being interviewed by a guy, I think he's Swedish or Danish. So it's a little more, shall we say, informal, okay? And it's good. So you kind of get the discussion. I didn't even finish it. It's pleasant, but there was so much I had to go through. I just jumped through it. And he's talking about the lawsuit and the discovery of all of the issues out there and the history of how this came to pass and his involvement. Take a listen for a few minutes if you like. Then, of course, we had to add No, Liz Wheeler. She does what the mainstream media didn't cover. It's a short version. It's also excellent. Now, did I mess up my 2 pages? No, here we are. Here's one that I'm going to have to come back and do again. This, again, is speaking to the CDC and the failure of the PCR tests. This is Dr. Tom Cowan. So he's got an article, and he finds in there the CDC report on the SARS Cov-2, which is the same thing that Dr. Judy's talking about. She's saying this is all the XMR viruses, which are, what do we want to say, cross-contaminated to humans through the growing of the viruses in animal cells, mice, monkeys, etc. This is very troubling what she's talking about. And she lays it out brilliantly. And it sounds to me, and I'll put this to you this way, sounds to me like this is clearly a cover-up, but it also sounds to me like this may be, and this might just be my paranoid brain, but I think I might be right, that this is a bigger scam, a bigger fraud than we realized. That when they are suppressing this, that maybe the purpose is to create systemic illnesses throughout society, continue to expand them, not necessarily for the purpose of population control, but for the purpose of building in endless, shall we call it, therapeutic treatments for other debilitating chronic conditions forever. Wow. Fauci. The vaccine. Mm-hmm. This represents the height of the podium. Yeah. Anyway, so Cowan goes into this, and what he talks about is out of the pairs of, is it the genomes? There's only 37 that were used out of 30,000. So he's saying it's not accurate. Now, I sent this over to Paul Cottrell. Paul says it's misleading. I don't know. Judy agrees with Dr. Kaufman. Paul thinks that Kaufman is a joke. And Paul also thinks that the PCR test was 85% accurate. Well, that's been disputed. And that's been disputed by who? Harvard doctors that said 10%. Or with the Harvard doctors saying 6% of people died? Or was that the CDC? So the numbers keep moving. Isn't that interesting? Lower and lower and lower. And Kennedy points out in his speech that tuberculosis last year had 10 million cases, 1.5 million people died. Yet we didn't have a mask wearing for that. We didn't have social distancing. We didn't have quarantines of healthy people. Nope. No. Why? Now, I want to point something out that I also said way back when with Fauci and Birx. Weren't they running an international group and committee to remove tuberculosis, malaria, and AIDS from Africa? All 3 of them seem to be doing quite well. So I remember saying those are 3 fails. Yet, they get put in charge of COVID in this country. So does that mean they're actually working on eradicating a disease? Or does it mean they're working on facilitating more pharmaceutical company profits? Kennedy makes that suggestion as well. Too much light here. Wow. Kennedy's speech is powerful, and I'd love your comment on that, please. So we've got Tom Cowan here. We've got his little blurb. We've got the CDC report that is in his blurb, and I pulled that link for you. And this is from back in 626, it looks like, right? So this is the CDC article from 626. And then we've got his latest video, which I didn't complete, but this is where he discusses it. Now, let's jump to more immediate Smith-Munthified issues and our boy Biden. So I caught this last night, CBS News, and this, if you scroll down, you'll see these links in here, right? I'm going through the list. I have like almost 3 pages. CBS News, do right-wing militias pose a threat to America? Smith-Mundt. I don't know. Do they talk about $500 million, or is it, how much? 500 million? Let's see, 2.2 trillion versus 1.8 trillion is a spread of $400 billion. So that damage was caused by peaceful protests. Yet our friends at the FBI can't figure that out. But they're going to say right-wing militias are a problem. This is propaganda. Take a listen. CBS News. Again, aren't these the same people that brought us the brilliant footage of the New Jersey emergency room that was repeat footage from Milan, purportedly? And then they said, oh, that was an editing error? Yeah, propaganda central. Unbelievable. I don't know if Kennedy goes through the list of these, but somebody else did. And everybody is on par with the payoffs and the propaganda pitch from the Smith-Mundt control from the agency. Everybody. Wow. I'm not, but I'm not commercial media. I'm supported by the campers. Well now. CBS News, right-wing militias, disturbing peace because of the way it's mischaracterized. And then, of course, they got to come in with the white supremacist noise. Okay. The next link is Trump draws big crowds. That's my link on short notice. But here's the deal. This is Bill Still's piece. And aside from his intro dirge music, evidently, according to him, Biden has canceled all public appearances and campaigning. This is an interesting clip, and screwed up big time. He confused Bush and Trump. We can't have 4 more years of Bush. So he's living in a different era because his mental faculties are completely there. So I could see him meeting with Putin and calling him President Xi or Xi Putin. Oh, yeah. I can't see it. Can you? Evidently, according to Still, this is a cool little piece. Oh, yeah, 2 minutes. Even Obama showed up and did a backup, kind of a proxy campaign for Biden, and only drew 80 people. Not sure where, but that's a small crowd, isn't it? Somebody made the comment on the channel that Biden couldn't fill a 7-Eleven parking lot. Oh, God, I hope he doesn't fill mine. I would have to wait online to get my coffee. Hang on a second, campers. I haven't had enough coffee yet today. Then we've got some updates for you. So this is cool stuff. So Biden, people showed up. There was a clip, I don't know where, I saw it last night, where there are Trump supporters showing up at Biden, what do we call them, rallies, campaign events, whatever. It's excellent. I love that. So it looks like when the people show up, they're going to show up for Trump. Yet, we've got this, what's that phrase? They want to stop the coup. Okay. The other thing on Trump, this is a great little clip. Actually, you should watch this. This is Bill Still. At the end, Trump was up in Maine and did a quick unannounced appearance on very short, a few minutes notice, and a big crowd showed up. And here's the clip is in here showing the, I don't know, it looks like it was shot with a cell phone. Good stuff. You'll enjoy it, and it's like good to know people are awake. Interesting how the timing was. He got his COVID right in the middle of the campaign. And now Pence's assistants all showed up with COVID. And the morons want to say, Pence, you should quarantine yourself. He's like, what, are you kidding? I'm asymptomatic. I have no symptoms. I'm not quarantining myself. It's an obvious attempt to impact the election campaigning process. It's outrageous. Thank God Trump has this energy. It's amazing, right? He is cranking. He's all over the place. Multi-stops per day. There's a great little clip, actually, except for his built-in advertising, which annoys me to shit, but that's my problem. Still a good clip. All right, then I had the Epoch Times. I had that in again, and then I had the Dr. Judy in there again. I think I took them out, and then the PayPal and Patreon link. Dr. Judy's is profound. What Kennedy says is we need to pressure our representatives to find out what the cause is. We want an investigation. We want answers. We're entitled to answers. There needs to be some transparency. I would use the word accountability, that we need to hear and know that we're having a legitimate investigation. A few days ago, I had made the suggestion about investigating Smith-Mundt. Let's have hearings on that to expose the propaganda that is legalized and wonder why we have fake news. If the first step in destroying a democracy is suppressing and censoring free speech, isn't it a nice slithering swamp-like way to get in and allow the government, which I'm not even going to call the government, I'll call it the agency, to come in and have state-run media? Then you've got the FBI covering up and can't locate Antifa because they are not an organization. They are an ideology. That ideology caused how much? $400 billion worth of damage with their peaceful protests. Yet you've got knuckleheads here. This dude is running his private security company. He used to work for Homeland Security, so he's plugged into his private military-industrial complex, and there he is on CBS. I want to know who this girl is on CBS. Who's that reporter? Because she reads her script perfectly. Wow. So this is opening up a bigger can of worms, and it is fearsome, and it is fear-inducing. Should we say fearful that this can and is actually happening? We are being lied to. We are being manipulated. We are being defrauded on a multi-process plane. Unbelievable. And these clowns up there are saying early voting. I keep getting crap, 2 and 3 pieces of mail 2 and 3 times a week from and I'm in Florida, right? So I guess they're calling that a battleground state of how we should vote early, mail in, mail in, mail in. It's like, dude, not happening. But they're not from the official county elections, right? Or the state election. It's from the voter enrollment program, whatever. These are private groups. Outrageous. They get ripped and tossed. But how many knuckleheads are sending in their ballots early before they realize that Biden has dementia? So once they vote early, can they say, I changed my mind? Oh, I didn't know. So vote early before he gets into a debate. Vote early before you realize what a blithering idiot he is. It's sad that he's that way. It's frightening and very concerning that the Democratic Party put him up as the front man, the empty suit, and that he just is so pathologically lying, or is such a pathological liar, that he can repeat his garbage with a straight face that he did the other day in that debate is unbelievable. And I think, which clip was it? Oh, this was a Trump commercial I caught on YouTube. And it was showing how Trump was avoiding the issue of the Ukraine deal. How come an investigation is not started into Hunter Biden? How come an investigation is not started into Joe Biden, right? If he was the vice president of the U.S. and he is a partner in a joint venture collecting payments, and his son, another partner in the joint venture, is holding his share of payments, holding Joe's share for him. That's like Cheney doing a deferred compensation program with Halliburton. This way, his son is just holding the money for him. That means he's effectively on a business, in a joint venture with a foreign government. And he has the nerve to accuse Trump of being paid off by the Russians. Then this is exactly what he's doing. This should be investigated. He should be charged with treason, and so should Hillary with her little, what are we calling that? The Clinton Foundation? Well, foreign dignitaries, foreign governments are contributing to the foundation. That would be the left pocket, and the right pocket doesn't know what's happening. That's supposed to be, what, a laundering operation? That's supposed to be a little hidden back channel payoff. We're not supposed to know that that's quid pro quo. That's their new favorite word, isn't it? I'll contribute to your foundation if you give me the mining deal in Haiti. I'll contribute to the foundation if you sign off, because you're the Secretary of State, on the CFIUS sign-off to allow the national security concerns of a uranium-1 transaction to be okayed. We'll kick in $140 million into your left pocket. And nobody's looking at that? Does that speak to the disgusting corruption of this government, or what? I'll leave you with, look at Kennedy's speech and share it. Excellent. And in fact, there's a bunch of things here. You can open them in new tabs if you're playing with the computer, because I'd hate to send you off channel and lose you to the other YouTube channels. And realize how many links I share with you on a daily basis for many years. The point being, I'm not afraid to refer you to good content. How many people don't put up links because they're afraid, oh, I'll lose eyeballs. Oh, I'll send the viewers away. Or, well, I might have to actually prove my point. Show you a citation for the assertion being made. Hearsay, therein. Little joke, you had to follow that. Anyway, so for our medical experts, I know we've got nurses, doctors, and techs out there, quality medical professionals, and science-oriented heads. Take a look at this Cowan's little paper on the 37 pieces instead of 30,000. And if you want to listen to Dr. Judy, it's great. And then, of course, Kennedy's speech. And I guess just for a big smile is the thing on Bill Still and Trump. So there you are. Now, quick updates. I got the, what do you call them, the backdrops. So we're going to have to set them up. I wasn't in the mood. I've got the poles over there. They break down nicely to they're like 18 inches, and the feet fold up. Very cool. So you could put them in a package and travel with them, I guess, for photographic experiences. So I have the blue one. I've got the beige one. They're still, you know, folded, so there's creases. I don't care. We're going to put them up because this here, the Farmer Jones channel. So we're going to check that out. I was thinking of getting a new chair because this thing, you can see it rocks. Does that drive you crazy? Dramamine, anyone? I could turn this, but I can't. It won't let me do it. Ready? The boat. Oh, wait. We're in Walter Reed. Yeah, okay. The boat. So the point being, fishing. If I get the high back chair, I was going to get. I had one a year ago, and I returned it, and then I got it. I think I'm going to get it again. It's got one of those gaming chairs, the racing chairs, but it's got a high back, right? So that means we're not going to be able to see the happy computers, and who knows how it'll play against the background. I think I'll set up the background before I run out and go get the chair. Although this thing is starting to kill my rump. So that's where we're at. There was another important update. Nothing earth-shattering. I've got to talk to other people. I took care of a lot of stuff, and I really have so many loose ends that have to be finished. It's like too many irons in the fire. Let's clear them out of the fire and get the heat back up. Know what I mean? Flame on. All right, campers. Thank you. Leave a comment, give it a thumbs up, subscribe. I'd love your thinking on the Kennedy. It's a speech, And I love that room he's got with the library with the books. I never had a room that big with the books, but I've always had shelves of books. Over here, my books are not here. I've got a little bookshelf. I have a couple of other ones, but I never set it up where the books were behind me. I always had it where they were to the side or in front of me. It's the way I set up my desk. What can I tell you? All right, guys. Thanks. Again, if you like the thinking, give it a thumbs up, leave a comment, subscribe. Please continue supporting the channel. I thank you for your contributions, PayPal and Patreon. Hello, new patrons. Great. And I got a shout out to Saratoga Prepper. Yeah, he purchased, I guess, the HCQ thing from that doctors, AFL, what is it, America's Frontline Doctors, got a consult, but he's upstate New York. As such, that's a tough place to get hydroxychloroquine. Kennedy mentions that too. Look at the media complicity, and I'll close it with this. This media that is lying about everything, and this nonsense where the lefties, for lack of a better word, are calling this stop the coup. They're accusing Trump of performing a coup against himself. Is that how stupid they are? And the people that listen to that nonsense and say, yeah, Trump is doing a coup, they don't even know what a friggin' coup is. The coup is occurring with the help of the media, with the suppression of our free speech, with the suppression of our fundamental rights, of the freedom of assembly, right? No weddings, no funerals, no picnics, social distancing, communications are being censored, people are being shamed and bullied, and that's the point. Kennedy says, we don't mind, you want to tell us mass work, prove it, and let's have a debate. But free speech, and as I put the comment in there, and he's gotten a lot of them now, my comment says, look, one of the reasons, as he points out, and I don't know if he does or not, in this, is that the purpose of the First Amendment was to encourage and facilitate the discourse of political speech, political ideas. Not just political, but all ideas. Free speech. Now, when that gets censored, and he points out the billionaires are making more money, Bezos is making billions more. Why? Because of the shutdown. Facebook and Zuckerberg is making billions because of the extra ad revenue on Facebook. Right? Right. So they are censoring free speech, that are questioning what's happening. They're challenging it. They're taking their orders from the WHO. That's why my channel was blocked for a week, because my information and my position contradicted the WHO. Therefore, my speech gets censored. And it wasn't blather. It was backed up with scientific evidence, with doctors who were saying that face masks cause brain damage in children. They took that video down. It was also a link to the American Frontline Doctors, who totally destroyed all of these points in the COVID fraud. Now, what does that make the media? That makes the media Nazi sympathizers, collaborators. They are facilitating an authoritarian dictatorship. That's unacceptable. Perhaps the protests should be aimed at them. Perhaps they should hear the wrath of the American people. What do you think? I'd love your comment. Like, share, subscribe. FJ out.